Hey, what's up, world travelers? It's Eric here with the CardsAndComps YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about one of my favorite European trips, how much it cost, how much it cost when we took it, and how much it costs today in 2025. One of the things I talk to people about travel all the time, and one of the things that comes up is going to Europe or going to Paris. If you will see how much it costs me using this strategy, stick around. I'll let you know. We're just getting started. Okay, let's define the trip. So we used a repositioning flight to go from Atlanta to New York. Now, the whole trip was based on a specific flight that we had booked, and it was booked through the Chase portal that went from JFK to London. And then it had a return from Paris back to JFK. And actually, it was cheaper to return from Paris than it was to return from London. I'm not sure why it was, but that's how it was. And we went on British Airways. When we got to London, we stayed in a place called 69 The Grove, which was just a bed and breakfast in a area. It's in Vauxhall. That's is near the Vauxhall tube station. And that's the reason why we chose it, because it was so close to the tube station, and that was going to be the primary transportation for the 3 days that we're in London. It did include breakfast, and it was a fine establishment. I really enjoyed it, and I'll show you the expense for that later on. Actually, I can tell you now that I think when we went, it was $132 a night, and now it is $172 a night. So gives you, definitely that's some of the price if you're sort of tallying up things as we go along. And that was the biggest expense for the whole trip. We stayed 3 nights in Vauxhall, and then it was very enjoyable. We went to the British Museum. We went to the Maritime Museum, or the National Maritime Museum. We went to the Buckingham Palace and saw the changing of the guard, saw Tower Bridge. One of the things we did at night I thought was very interesting was went to the Sky Pod bar, and it overlooks the city. You can see the shard and everything and the city lights. It really doesn't cost you anything except for they expect you to spend $20 a person, or £20 per person for a cover charge, but that's easy with drinks and appetizer and such. So, I mean, very enjoyable. After the 3 days in London, we took the Eurostar train to Paris. And of course, that goes under the English Channel, which is, I think they call the Channel. And anyway, that was a very enjoyable experience too. That was 147 then. It's now $160, which is still very affordable. Train goes 186 miles an hour. Takes about 2.5 hours to go from London to Paris. And the nice thing is, and that's about 30 minutes when you're under the English Channel, it takes about 30 minutes when you're in that tunnel. So anyway, very interesting. That in itself was an event, and I really enjoyed that as well. In Paris, we stayed at the Renaissance Paris La Défense Hotel, and it was in an area outside of the city, but in the metro area. So we were able to take the subway into the city, and that worked out fine. And then close by, there was lots of places to eat that were walkable, and a mall and everything else. So that worked out fine. It did cost 25,000 Bonvoy points in order to stay for a night. And I used 25,000 Bonvoy points and 2 certificates from credit cards. And those certificates are basically, you get a free certificate for each credit card that you have. And I have 2 Bonvoy cards, one a American Express and one a Visa. And each one gives a annual certificate. It basically makes the value worth about $100. But of course, that's added into the price of the card. So anyway, it's a free certificate, and there's no taxes or any other fees that are associated with that after you get it. When we were in Paris, we went to Musée d'Orsay and the Louvre. And the Eiffel Tower and many other things. So anyway, it just experiencing Paris was a fun trip. I do recommend getting the Paris Museum Pass in advance, because when you have the pass, it makes you allow you to skip the lines. When you at the Louvre, you'll see a long line, and that's for tickets. But if you go through and have the museum pass, you can just go straight into the Louvre, and you don't have to stand in the ticket line, which is super nice. Okay, well, just to wrap up, so credit card points really do save you thousands of dollars. Let me give you the final cost. I know everybody's waiting on that. So in London, it was $398 we paid for this trip. Now I did price it out. It'd be $516 for the 3 nights in London. For 3 nights in Paris, it's still the same as $18 for the whole term, plus 25,000 points and the 2 certificates. So just the $18 is that what we're added there. The hop on, hop off Thames River Cruise. Now we use that in London, and that was a really good way to get out of the weather and take a rest, see the city, and go up to like the Naval Museum and other places. And it's also stops at the London Eye and everywhere else. So it's definitely a good value and a good way to see the city. The Eurostar train cost $147. It now costs $155. And everything else was points for the flight. So the points for the flight from JFK to Paris JFK to London and Paris back to JFK was 23,995 points. That's the points that we use based on the cost of the flight through British Airways. And today I did price it out, and it'll be about $450 or 30,000 points. And that's at a redemption rate of 1.5 points through the travel portal per point based on having a Chase Sapphire Reserve card. The final total was $645 for the trip that we took a few years ago. Today, it would be $770. Now it's cash out of pocket. It does not include meals and transportation inside the city. However, that is very affordable for the subway and the tube in both cities. So anyway, and obviously the price for that and for food is highly variable. So it's not included here. You can obviously spend thousands of dollars just on those things there. So that's not included, but you can control that budget. Everything else is definitely the base expense in order to experience this trip. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to go through and do that. If you like this content, if you like this video, please hit the like button. I do appreciate it. And if you can subscribe, thank you. And I appreciate it. See you next time.